This is how it looks in the championship. O'Halloran leads by 24 overall, ahead of Brad Ray on pole. Jackson and Skinner probably will book a place in the showdown by the end of this weekend. Owen might do as well. Ride, Mackenzie, Bridewell with still work to do. Peter Hickman, 3 times a winner here on the cusp. Haslam has won 9 here. Both of them need a big weekend at Cadwell. This is what it looks like on the grid. Brad Ray, as we saw earlier, with a spectacular final sector to bag a pole position ahead of the 2 FS3 Kawasaki's. They're on row 1. Then it's Buchan, Hickman and Tom Sykes on row 2 ahead of the championship leader O'Halloran on the McCams Yamaha, Bridewell and Taz Mackenzie. Then it's Glenn Irwin, Leon Haslam and Yuki Takahashi, Iden, Andy Irwin and Ryan Vickers on row 5. Then Ride with work to do, 16th ahead of Brooks and Neve. Dean Harrison is 19th ahead of Chrissy Rouse and Danny Kent. And then it's Owens, Mizuno and Storm Stacey. Following them, Jaycock, Delves and Hopkins with East and Jones on row 10. No Luke Mossy here today racing, and no Tito Rabat. He has flown home. More on that a little bit tomorrow, but it's a difficult place to come here if you've not raced here at Cadwell before, and Tito perhaps just not fancying it.
I fancied having a look around the place. However, when you get here in this company and it's as competitive as it is, and they're going as hard as they are, and they all know the place like the back of their hand, it is a massive ask, and it would have been a shock for Tito.
This man here stunned us earlier on with that final sector. Sounds like he stunned himself.
Absolutely. And the team, they didn't expect it. 3/10 quicker than anybody else in that last sector, half a second quicker than most.
Here we go then. We are readying ourselves for a 14-lap battle here in the Bennett BSB eBay sprint race. And it's lights out here in Lincolnshire. A good start from pole there from Brad Ray. Lee Jackson didn't get away quite so well. Sykes, he's got the inside line as well. But Brad Ray will lead into turn 1 ahead of Skinner, and Sykes in 3rd. I
think Danny Buchan's made a good one into about 4th as well.
Yep, you're right. There he is on the Cinetic BMW. He's just up ahead of Rory Skinner. Then it's Jason O'Halloran. Leon Haslam's trying to get aggressive in the early stages as well. He's just gone through on Taz Mackenzie as they head up towards Park Corner.
Rory looks like he's setting something up. Now, Brad Ray definitely better on the brakes.
A couple of moves further back there. That looks like Haslam going through on Hickman, and Andy Irwin has also just gone through. So Peter Hickman has had a bit of a beating on these opening couple of corners.
Exactly that. I just said it. He made a really good start, good launch off the line, and then just got kind of beaten up from then on.
So then down the hill into Mansfield, it's Bradley Ray and Rory Skinner in seconds. So Rory Skinner just ahead then of Tom Sykes. This is as high up in BSB as we've seen Tom Sykes so far this season.
Yeah.
Good stuff on the MCE Ducati. Then it's Buchan, Jackson, O'Halloran and Haslam. Just in the background there is Hickman on the FHO Racing BMW. So he's now got to work his way through from 9th. Defending champion Taz Mackenzie's 11th. Then it's the 2 Irwins, Andy and Glenn, 12th and 13th. Kyle Ride, 14th. Through Hall Bends. Into the hairpin. Buchan!
Hey!
I was going to say, I thought he was making a move.
Yeah,
that was audacious, almost a bit too ambitious.
It was a little bit too ambitious. You've got to be careful. You get really clean past and show the person your wheel. Let them know you're there. They don't then turn in on you. Look at it, stay on there.
He looked like he wanted to back out of it, but it was too late.
He couldn't do. You can't. No. That's exactly what happened.
What a shame for Sykesy that is. He's been nudged out of 3rd place just as things were looking bright. Talk us through this one.
Yeah, that's Sykes on the red bike. Danny goes up the inside, tries to get out of it, tries to go past the back of Sykes' bike, can't do it, and both lucky to stop on.
Well, they're both still on, but podium chances blown for Sykes, not on through his own doing. These two then, there's now a bit of a gap. Rory Skinner eyeing up a move on Bradley Ray out front. Here he comes now, the Scots. Oh, what a lovely move. That's brave, that's massive, huge move.
That is a big move at Chris Kerb into the gooseneck. At this level, you don't generally see that as a passive place.
Great move then from Skinner. He leads.
Big mid-corner speed, and that's 2 young riders who both know how to put a bike round a corner.
There's not a lot of room there.
No, and it was clean.
It was clean.
Amazing move, that.
Brilliant.
Well done.
Nige Snook loved it as well. He's very happy with that. So then Skinner leads from Brad Ray, then a bit of a gap.
Oh,
that's Jackson! And that's at the top of the mountain. There's another rider down as well.
Get that.
Oh, no! Dearie me. And we're going to have a red.
That's going to be a red flag, and they're out already. You can see
the red flags are out already.
That's one of the problems here. He's blind over the mountain. You're doing 80 miles an hour at that point.
And And there's a big old puncher there for Kyle Ride.
Yeah, he's hit something,
well.
look.
Yeah. That's the problem. The top of the mountain blind as you're going over it as well. You can't see, it's completely unsighted. Kyle Ride trying to get his bike back into the garage. Jason Halloran already in. We just keep our fingers crossed here for all riders involved in that one.
Exactly. One of the Honda riders went off to the right-hand side. I think he looked as if it was okay. Was it Dan Jones that ended up being the fallen bike?
Yeah, well, there's number 13. That's Takumi Takahashi.
Takahashi, yeah, he's perfectly all right.
So he's okay. But yeah, let's hope everyone else is all right. I saw a blue bike. It did look like potentially it could have been Dan Jones. Not 100% sure on that one at the moment. So red flag comes out here early on. There you can see the biker Lee Jackson. He was the first to come off just at the top of the mountain there. There is Lee Bob.
He's back, yep.
So he's now just walking off into pit lane. So what were we just on the second lap there? Skinner had just gone through into the lead, but that was actually on that lap that we were on. Brad Ray had only completed one lap. He led at the end of lap 1, and the red flags come out here due to an incident at the top of the mountain. There's the bike of Kyle Ride is back in after the puncture. And there is Kyle. Interesting, actually, Kyle Ride, we were talking about, of course, the showdown spots and stuff for him, and maybe a bit of a struggle. Couldn't quite make it into Superpole earlier on. And Kyle, hopefully he's all right there. I'm not sure if he's been injured in the process.
Well, he hit something fairly hard, because to rip a tyre off the rim, so it looks like to me he's hit a bike that's on the ground, but it's unusual to puncture the rear wheel without the front being punctured, actually.
Deep breath there, as you would expect from Kyle Ride. It's the last thing you want to see as you're coming over the crest of the mountain. Rory Skinner wouldn't have been aware of it. He was leading at that particular time. But yeah, interesting stat for you about Kyle Ride. First time on a superbike here. Yeah,
well, I mean, he did some laps on a superbike and then hurt himself and broke his ankle last year at the chicane at the bottom of the mountain, and then took no further part in the meeting.
So we're looking here at the scenes at the top of the mountain now. Lee Jackson's bike went down, and obviously a lot of bikes were trying to avoid that, but he was, I believe it's Dan Jones that is involved. He was completely unsighted of the other bikes trying to avoid Lee. Correct.
It's a blind part of track anyway, so you'll come over the mountain having known nothing's gone on. You will then see what's gone on. You'll try and avoid it, but actually he was unsighted by the rest of the riders jinking out the way to avoid the fallen bike of Lee Bob Jackson.
Yeah, and Kyle there then, as obviously then, was just trying to take avoiding action. Anyway, we've got a red flag here. We send our best wishes to all involved. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with more info soon.
Are so good, like super efficient, and even MotoGP, you know, to a degree, sometimes now they'll run steel discs and steel calipers in the wet, just because of the efficiency.
Okay, time for these boys to put those brakes to good use then, and the good news is that they get to release them first of all now at the end of pit lane, and head back out onto the track for what is going to be a 12-lap dash for points here at Cadwell. Let's get back to our coverage team then. James Whittam is alongside Steve Day.
Thanks very much, guys. Yeah, 12-lap race coming up. It's good that we're going to get some racing action. We send our best regards to Dan Jones, and hopefully tomorrow we can bring you some news on how he's getting on. 12-lap race then at Cadwell Park. It's just gone 25 to 6 local time. They're going to get 2 warm-up laps, Whit, because that section, as Sykesy just mentioned earlier on, just at the top of the mountain, which was damp, which they've tried to dry, is right on the tipping point for Hall Bends.
Absolutely, it's just where you tip in. That's where, I don't know whose bike ended up there, but certainly one of them plugged a load of oil out. They've cleaned it, they've used detergent, then they've got to use fresh water, then they've got to dry it up with powder and then blow the powder away and hopefully dry it. It's a big operation, but they have all the equipment. You couldn't have got that done any better anywhere else in the world.
Yeah, hats off to everybody that's helped to get that sorted out. They're going to get a good glimpse of it actually now here on the sighting lap.
Correct, and it's really important you see where it is because it's right on the edge of the track where you're trying to nick every single millimetre of this fairly narrow track to get into Hall Bends, so you'll be taking a good notice of that.
If you're just tuning in and you're wondering what we're talking about, there was an accident on the second lap here, just at the top of the mountain here. Lee Jackson came off. You can see just on the circuit where a few bikes had gone down. and Dan Jones, unsighted, hit Lee Jackson's bike. A couple other bikes involved as well. Lee Jackson will not be able to start this race because he was involved in the incident, and so the original grid spots, they'll all be moved up one. We'll get the grid graphic up for you as and when we get the warm-up lap underway. So they've all just had a quick glimpse at the Opera. I think they've done a tremendous job there.
Yeah,
really
like I say,
job.
yeah, you couldn't have done it any better. I've been at circuits where in America they tried to drive the track with a huge jet engine fastened on the back of a truck that they drove around really slow, blowing warm air all over the place. It didn't seem to be as effective as what they've done there, to be honest.
4 litres of oil on track.
Yeah, they've done a good job of that. Yeah,
Here
like
we
I
go.
said, they've got the equipment though.
So it's a quick start procedure. As you can see, every rider is only allowed one member of the team on the grid, just to make sure, thumbs up, everything okay, then they'll walk off. And we're going to have 2 warm-up laps here and a 12-lap race. The BSB eBay sprint race then. Psychologically, how would you cope with a break like that, James?
They're fine. They take it all in the stride. It won't be the first time this has happened to any of these riders, so you can't wait to get going. You'll be concerned that the track is in a good condition where the oil went down. You'll be looking where that is and adjusting your kind of strategy accordingly.
It looks a little darker, not because it's going to rain, but is that just because it's a bit later in the day, cooler temperature maybe?
Sun's a bit lower. Definitely track temperature have gone down. I don't think that's going to be a problem here anyway. So no, we're good to go.
So it's going to be, as you can see, Brad Ray will kick off from pole position. We'll go through the whole grid for you in just a moment. For those of you with your notebooks out, Luke Mosley not starting this race, and Tito Rabat has flown home back to Spain, as we now get 2 warm-up laps and 12 laps racing. Here is the revised grid then, with Lee Jackson not on the front row. Danny Buchan's been moved up a spot. So let's get them up for you then. Bradley Ray with a brilliant lap in Superpole earlier. He's on pole from Rory Skinner, who led when the red flags came out. Then Danny Buchan, who's been given a second chance there because he had a bit of a moment with Tom Sykes. Hickman and Sykes get another crack at this on row 2, ahead of the championship leader Jason Halloran, who's 6th. Bridewell, McKenzie and Glenn Irwin are on row 3. That is a strong third row, ahead of Haslam, Idden and Andy Irwin. Then row 5 features Ryan Vickers, Kyle Wright and Josh Brooks. Tom Neve, Dean Harrison and Chrissy Rouse are on row 6, ahead of Danny Kent, Josh Owens and Rio Mizuno. And then on row 8, we've got Stacey, Jaycock and Delves, and Hopkins and East on row 9. As the riders exit the chicane, Peter Hickman first of the bunch at the moment, about to tip through the mountain. Just have one quick check. Would you go at this at a fairly high speed just to get an idea of it, or would you not bother?
You don't really want to find out if there's a complete lack of grip on there, but
No.
they'll be just looking where it is and maybe just, I don't know, knocking it a bit off there and taking a little bit of time to build up to. It is just where you throw the bike on its side, right from that white line. Like I said, you're nicking every single inch of this track because it is so narrow compared to some. You get a real idea of the speed down that bottom straight on these things. These are fast bikes.
Seriously fast bikes. This is the Rich Energy OMG racing team, just now waiting for Kyle Wright to come back round.
Yeah, that's his dad, Sean, on the left. Getting his bum felt there. I don't know what that was about.
Kyle, I actually spoke to Sean a little bit earlier on about Kyle, and they said we're not too worried about it. He does sometimes get affected by confidence. They're happy to get out of here with just three top 10s.
Yeah, it's the first time he's doing the Superbike round. I actually forgot that. He did come here to ride last year, but hurt himself in the first session and took one no further part. So this is very much still learning. That's the McCann's team. Les Pearson on the left with the earplugs in.
Yeah, crew chief to Jason O'Halloran.
Good crew chief, that fella.
Yeah, been around the block a bit. World Championship, British Championship as well. And his man Jason O'Halloran leads the way overall. Don't forget, 6 races to go until the showdown begins. We've got 3 coming up for you at Cadwell, 2 tomorrow here at the Party in the Park, and then in 2 weeks' time we head over to Norfolk and Snetterton for 3 more races, and then 3 rounds to go. The showdown begins. This is the Storm Stacey team. Yep. That's Mark Davies there. Good rider, Mark.
Yep. Big, as was Jeff Cross, big fella at the back, just gone off a shot. Good production man, hard man as well. If there's a barroom brawl at the circuit, you want it to be on his side, not the other.
There's a few of them in here, to be honest. So thumbs up from the crowd. They're ready to go. Really good crowd here, actually, it has to be said. And we're hoping for more of that tomorrow. Bank holiday Monday, don't forget. We'll be bringing you all the action 1 till 6. And Toprak and Locatelli are going to be in town as well. The World Superbike riders for a little play. And these fans, I'm sure, will be happy to see that. They've been patient. They've been waiting for the BSB stars to get back out on circuit. And we are ready to go racing. 2 warm-up laps have been completed. A 12-lap race coming up. Bradley Ray is on pole position then for this Bennett's BSB eBay sprint race, the first race of the weekend after a brilliant and breathtaking super pole and also a cracker at Thruxton last time out. Who wins on day 1 at Cadwell? Let's find out. It's lights out. It's another good start from Peter Hickman on the second row on the BMW. Likewise, Danny Buchan. Ray's got off pretty well. He should get the whole shot up the hill into turn 1 ahead of Skinner, and does. Buchan's third. Halloran is up into 4th. Tom Sykes just behind him, I think. Tommy Bridewell got away well as well.
Still a good start for Tom Sykes, that.
So around Charlie's we go. Sykes and that red MCE Ducati number 66 has got Tommy Bridewell for company on the Park Straight. Now up towards Park Corner. Who's making a move? O'Halloran up to 3rd place, through on Danny Buchan, and Sykes there, just making sure he goes through on Tommy Bridewell.
Danny tried to cut back, didn't work into Chris's there. Can Rory do the same thing? Brad will know it's coming.
Yeah, earlier on, just before the red flags come out, Rory Skinner put a wonderful move on Brad Ray round Chris Curve, and that was on the 2nd lap. So this is as you were really earlier on. Jason Halloran, though, will be much happier with the start that he's made. And the Cam Yamaha rider in 3rd, number 22 there. And now coming up towards the bottom of the mountain. Who else has made decent progress? Bridewell and Hickman are there or thereabouts. Christian Idden then is in 8th, and it's Haslam. Taz McKenzie's in 10th. Kyle Ride is in 15th. Not really made too much progress here as they now go through Hall Bends.
Yep.
Don't think you'll be seeing Danny Buchan make a move into the hairpin on this particular occasion.
No, it was a small mistake that had a fairly big outcome. Didn't mean to do it. Clean rider is Danny. Tom Sykes knows that.
There you can just see number 91 is Leon Haslam, 9-time winner at Cadwell Park at British Championship level. No one has ever had as many wins as that. He needs something similar here this weekend if he's going to get himself into the top 8 overall and into the showdown positions. But this is a good start to the 2nd lap for Brad Ray. He's put a bit of space between himself and Rory Skinner, who will be shortly coming under attack from O'Halloran.
Yeah, you'd think so, wouldn't you?
In the background there is that Tommy Bridewell thinking about a move on Tom Sykes. All staying in line for the time being. And the good news is they've all gone through the part of the circuit that have been treated, and no dramas. So they've done an excellent job.
Not at all. You would think that Rory Skinner, if he can get with him, can make some kind of place to pass, but it is a really difficult place to be clean and get past a rider that's going essentially the same pace as you.
Bradley Ray, so unfortunate to come out of Buxton without a victory, because they all deserved one.
You felt a little bit sorry for the fella, didn't you? I don't think he felt sorry for himself. He'd been a really good race, and like they said in that nice little piece when we were chatting together, you rode the same pace and did the same moves, and it was just kind of a lottery. You couldn't really work that one out.
There's Kyle Ride, you can just see ahead of Josh Brooks, 13th, 14th. Josh Brooks, unfortunately, the form that he's been in, it's not improved here on the arrival at Cadwell. 5-time winner he is here, number 25, struggling again on the Ducati, just ahead of Vickers and Kent and Tom Neve and Josh Owens. There's Danny Buchan, he's in 4th at the moment. Danny without a podium thus far in 2022.
Yep, battle of the Ducatis there. That's Tom Sykes on a PMA bike, and Tommy Bridewell right behind him, looking a little bit anxious to get by the Yorkshireman now.
He is, isn't he? Yeah, there he is, number 46 on that Oxford Pullux Motor Rapido Ducati. Now in the slipstream again of Sykes. Can he make a move? He's having a look. He's on the brakes into Park Corner, and he sits Tom up just a bit, but he's through. It's clean. Good move.
Yeah, not super clean, but about as clean as you get round here.
So on lap 3 of 12 then, Bradley Ray leads from Skinner. O'Halloran with the fastest lap of the race at 26.4. That's a 10th off the lap record set by Hickman here last year. Out of Mansfield Corner we go, just a bit wide on exit there from Tom Sykes. He's got Peter Hickman behind him. They're bunching up a bit out front.
Yeah, they are. It's quite a difficult place to pass, like we've said, so you do get a little bit of bunching here.
There's Glenn Irwin, number 2, with work to do behind his brother, Andy Irwin.
I've got to say his brother, younger brother, just in front of him on the Cinetic bike.
And he's just gone through on Mackenzie there.
Brilliant. Yeah, that's took it. I don't know that Mackenzie must have missed a gear there. That just looked too easy, didn't it?
It did, especially on that part of the circuit as well.
Yeah.
It's not easy to do at all. The run from the top of the mountain to Hall Bends is not long at all.
Yeah, Andy Irwin, number 18 there on the Cinetic back. That's the fella. Good lad. Really unlucky in Super Bowl. Lost the front end down there at Mansfield. Easy to do. It's a really off-camber entrance to that corner.
We have a new lap record, an official lap record in race trim anyway. A 26.202 from the race leader, Bradley Ray. We've never had a 25 in race form. We have so far this weekend, of course. He put one on pole.
Yeah, there's 2 records around the track. It is a practice and qualifying lap record, which tends to be a little bit quicker because it's 1 lap, and sometimes in the past they've used qualifying tyres, or at least a softer tyre than they are able to run in for race distance, and the real lap record can only count in racing conditions.
So then it's Ray, Skinner, O'Halloran, and then in 4th, that is Danny Bucket. You've got 5 different manufacturers in the top 5 at the moment, with Bridewell in 5th. Just cut a drift from this group. There he is, just number 46. Then it's Sykes there, number 66, ahead of Hickman and Christian Nidden.
Look at that. There's Ray and Skinner and Buchan and Bridewell under the lap record, the existing one.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. And it might just get better again here as they all head through Hall Bends. Tara McKenzie then in 11th place, just ahead of Irwin. Ride 13th, Brooks 14th, Vickers in 15th place. Across the line we go then to start lap 5 of 12. Bradley Ray then a 26.4 that time, a 25.9 from Tommy Bridewell.
Yeah,
in 5th place.
Yeah.
Well,
what a lap from Tommy, and that's he. How close is he to Danny Buchan?
He's closing.
Ah, right, so he's got a little bit of space. He is racing his own pace.
So
brilliant.
Tommy Bridewell then, he looked a little bit downbeat on the grid earlier.
Surprised me. That really surprised me. Confident bloke is Tommy. He knows his abilities. Yeah, I don't know, nerves maybe, but certainly I thought he looked like he had the pace.
Well, between then and the red flag, he's got himself properly in the zone here, Tommy Bridewell,
hasn't he?
And he's really closed this gap.
Being fast round here is one thing, passing is quite another.
So then Tommy Bridewell, number 46. Remember, Tommy's 8th in the championship at the moment, far from secure.
Yeah, he needs this
in the showdown. So yeah, a big result would be handy here for Tommy. Now let's keep an eye on this lap as well, because he's got good reference, but now he's got to try and find a way through on Buchan and O'Halloran.
Might be another quick lap. This has definitely closed that gap down to Danny Buchan.
There is number 46, Tommy Bridewell, without a victory as yet to his name this season. Only 3 podiums.
And one problem that Tommy's got is the fact he's a really, really safe and clean and respectful rider. So he sometimes just finds it a little bit more difficult to kind of take a risk and get past somebody. He's a polite lad. You don't think he is when you talk to him, but on a bike he is.
Across the line we go, and it's a 26.2 for Tommy Bridewell. Now he's got to try and fish his way past Danny Buchan.
Yeah, still the fastest man on track though.
You're looking at 5 different manufacturers in the top 5 as they now make their way onto the Park Straight. We're halfway through the first race of the weekend. Bradley Ray it is that still leads. Ray looking for his first victory since the opening race of the weekend at Knockhill.
Tommy Bradwell not close enough there, out of Charlie's 2 to get himself anywhere near a chance to go up the inside into Park Corner.
So then around Chris Curve we go. Bridewell looking to find a way through on the BMW with Buchan. Down the hill, just about to reach the second half of this race. Big gap behind this top 5. Peter Hickman in 6th. Hasn't been able to latch on to the group.
And this is a solid pace from Brad Ray at the front. I know that's an obvious thing to say, but when you look consistently quick, maybe not just quite as quick, he hadn't stuck a 25 in there, but every single lap is good. Very consistent.
Through Hall Bends we go. 3rd, 4th and 5th you're looking at. 22, Jason O'Halloran, the championship leader. Rory Skinner so far doing a decent job in 2nd, but can't get close enough to make a move on Ray.
Yeah, the other problem that Tommy Bradwell's got is that Cinetic BMW of Danny Buchan right in front. It's a quick bike, it's got a good engine, and it's he's going to find it difficult to get anywhere near and put himself in a position where he can slide up the inside on the brakes anyway.
Skinner's just put in his personal best lap of the race in 2nd. He's 7/10 though, adrift of Brad Ray out front. Yeah, it seems as though at the crucial points of the circuit where you want to get that drive, it looks like acceleration-wise the BMW's just got a bit over.
Big Danny having a look.
Tommy.
That'll work.
Whoa.
No way.
There we go, coming through.
I tell you what, Jason hadn't seen him there, and it's surprising. I thought he'd done enough there, Danny, for Jason to have seen him. Close that.
Tommy Bridewell looking to try and capitalise on that because O'Halloran lost a bit of momentum. Can he find a way through down the hill into Mansfield? He's not close enough. So good stuff from Danny Buchan.
Yep.
He's up into third. He's not had a podium all year.
He's sniffing at one now.
Bearing in mind what happened initially in the initial start of the race, this has worked out quite well.
Yeah, absolutely.
For Big Danny.
Absolutely.
But you can only take what you've been given.
Yep, definitely got a second chance at it.
Over the top of the mountain, Tommy Bridewell. He's got the speed,
yeah,
but he just can't get through.
He's really good on this hall bend and mountain section, but there's just no way through. Honestly, and like I said, he's such a safe rider, is Tommy. He talks the talk sometimes, but he is. He's a really respectful, safe riding kind of. It doesn't want to. He won't cause anybody any bother with. I've never seen him make a bad pass.
No, he doesn't make silly moves.
No, he doesn't.
It's just not really in his DNA at all, Tommy.
Absolutely.
We're on lap 8 of 12. It's going very well for Bradley Ray at the moment. He leads this one by 0.8 of a second. His laps are so consistent.
Absolutely. We're within 1/10 of a second for the last 4 laps.
Danny Buchan found some speed. That was his personal best lap of the race in third. But we are in line here, potentially for another Yamaha victory. 14 out of the 18 races Yamahas have won so far.
Yeah, that one's certainly the bike to have this year. I mean, honestly, I don't think it's the quickest engine. It's quick enough, but just in the turns, it just seems to be happy turning.
So down the hill we go into Mansfield. Crossed up there for Danny Buchan in third as we just tip it in there, but he's managed to get through okay. Skinner on this lap has just taken a 10th or 2 out of Bradley Ray. Like Bradley Ray was just spinning the rear up a bit around Chris Curve, but we are losing laps here slightly.
Yeah, the engine on that Yamaha is very different. The firing order is different to an across the frame 4. That's why it sounds a little bit different. It sounds like a V-twin. But what that gives you is a really linear power curve. It's very, very easy on a Yamaha one. I've done plenty of laps on one. Not in superbike trim, but the road bike's the same in the way it performs and how the engine delivers its power. It's such a flat power curve. It's easy to decide how much power you are putting to the rear wheel. They're easy to get out the corners compared to a lot of bikes.
This group here.
Yeah,
that's
a big group.
7 Haslam all the way down to Vickers in 15th place. Across the line we go. And despite the fact that Skinner made up a bit of time in sectors 2 and 3, that final sector, Ray, has got nailed.
Yeah, and Buchan's gone quicker still. That's a 26.1. He's quickest man on track, and Halloran going with him.
There's Taron McKenzie at the moment, the defending champion.
Yeah, in 12th. He's always going to struggle a little bit here. He'd admit that. He's a small fella, and it tends to be the big as Andy Irwin slides up the inside. Is that his brother who's just done that?
No, that's Sykes.
Oh, yeah, it's Tom Sykes.
Yeah, Sykes is just fading a bit here and falling into a few traps. He's got Christian Hidden for company as well now through the gooseneck. You're looking here at the battle for 7th place.
Yeah, can you believe that? The freight train for 7th.
Leon Haslam at the front of it, just at the top of your picture there, you could see the leaders just heading into the bottom of the mountain.
Yeah, this brilliant parkland circuit developed by the Wilkinson family of farmers that go into motorsport really early in the 30s and 40s. That's why a lot of the corners are named. So Mansfield, that comes from Mansfield Wilkinson. Charlie Wilkinson. I can just about remember him being about.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
More. There's lots of wit and wisdom so far today.
There you go.
We're on lap 10 of 12 across the line. The gap has just come down slightly. It might be worth keeping an eye on that. Ray and Skinner, 6/10 then.
That is too close for comfort, is that?
And Buchan is going with them as well.
Yeah, not only that, Skinner and Buchan are doing quickest lap, their quickest lap on their quickest lap, and Ray isn't.
Tommy Bridewell and Josh Brooks on the Ducatis, top of the Cataclean top speed charts. That's been kind of the story most of the season. Nothing wrong with the top speed of the Ducati. There you can see further back, that's Andy Irwin looking to go through on Leon Haslam.
Yeah, difficult when the route you wanted to go past him, he sticks his leg into it.
They're not the longest legs in the world, though.
They are little legs, aren't they? Little stocky legs, little strong legs.
Yeah. So as it stands then, with the fastest laps, Tommy Bridewell would start tomorrow's first race from pole ahead of Danny Buchan and Jason O'Halloran. That's as it stands. We're on lap 10 of 12.
Pleased for Andy Irwin. 8th is a good showing, especially he's had his bad luck round here this weekend and during the season in general.
Yeah, if he gets up to 7th and past Leon Haslam, it would be his best result since the opening weekend of the season at Silverstone. Of course, he was on the podium there. A couple of opportunities have gone awry for him. He had a big crash.
Oh, that's Chrissy Rouse. It is. Another rider who's had a cracking season so far, as Chrissy.
That's over at Mansfield. He's up on his feet. He's away.
That'll be a front end. That's a privately run. That's a Crow Racing BMW. Organised and tuned and set up by Phil Crow, who's over in the Isle of Man doing the Manx.
Well, if the gap had come down out front, Brad Ray has settled things down nicely. A really good, solid 126.4 from Ray. You'd argue that he should be comfortable here. Lap 11 of 12. Anything can happen here at Cadwell Park. The slightest mistake, the slightest corner that goes wrong, and it can cost you big time at Cadwell.
Of course, it's an unforgiving circuit. Brilliant circuit, but it is unforgiving.
This is brilliant riding from Brad Ray. Deserved a top step.
Yes,
so did, well, all
completely.
three of them did back at Truxton.
Every single session Brad Ray's gone out there, he's one of the first on the track. He was able to put a quick lap in really early in every single session, so he deserves this.
And Danny Buchan looks like he's on course here for his first podium of the season, and he'll probably tell you it's well overdue. He did say, showdown-wise, I've pretty much kissed goodbye to those opportunities. It's shop window now for me. I'm trying to get myself a ride for 2023.
Yeah, it's that time of year when you start thinking about that. You've had a good...
Oh dear, that's Tom Sykes.
That's Sykes.
As Brad Ray launched it over, oh, blimey, and is that Christian Hidden?
Yeah.
Or is that Danny Kent?
Hang on.
It's hard to see from this angle. I think there's lightning on the back, it's Christian Hidden.
I thought it was.
I don't know what's happened there. And Tom looks like he's in a bit of pain here as well.
Yeah, he does.
Let's have a look and see what's happened to Tom.
This will be a move up the inside from Christian down into Mansfield.
That's a lunge.
Oh, that is a lunge, and that's gone wrong. Yeah, he's had an unlucky day with people running into him as Tom.
That's really unfortunate for Tom Sykes.
Yeah.
No fault of his own. Nice to see he's back up on his feet, but he's been beaten up a bit here today.
Yeah.
So they're just keeping an eye on that up in race control, as you can see.
There might just be a penalty there for Christian. And Christian, not a dangerous rider, a little bit of frustration. And sometimes it happens around Cadwell and places like Cadwell. It is difficult to pass. You get sort of bogged down behind a rider for lap on lap, and then oh, look at that. Brilliant round Chris's curve for Brad Ray, the thing sideways, and that's maybe why his lap times have dropped a little bit. Maybe he's lost a little bit of rear grip there. He's not got too much of a cushion here.
He hasn't, but it is the last lap of the race. And
it's going to be enough.
It's going to be enough. And Brad
Without
Ray,
mistake,
it's going to be a fantastic victory this for Brad Ray. After a wonderful pole lap in the final sector. He's been solid as a rock as Brad Ray, and crucially for him, Jason Halloran won't be on the podium.
No.
This is going to cut the championship gap down. Rory Skinner's going to return to the podium by the looks of things as well. His first since his home race at Knockhill.
Not just championship gap either, this is podium points gap as well.
Yeah, massive.
That he's bringing down.
Well, this is a statement and a half. Here we go, down into the final corner, Barn. What a day it has been for Brad Ray as we come out of the last corner. The checkered flag's out. No one can match him. Brilliant stuff. A masterclass from Bradley Ray here at Cadwell ahead of Rory Skinner. Buchan in third on the podium. And then it's a Halloran in fourth and Tommy Bridewell taking fifth place. This big group of riders. Andy Owen does take seventh ahead of Haslam, with Glenn Irwin in ninth and Brooks in 10th. 11th for Mackenzie, 12th for Rye, just a couple of points on offer there. Brad Ray's dad, absolutely delighted with that. That's as good as we've seen Brad Ray since probably well, Truxton, he was obviously brilliant.
Yeah.
But that's a dominating performance.
Absolutely, yeah, that was a man controlling a race really well. Brilliant.
He'd already got himself secured in the showdown. It's almost like there's been a little bit of relief for him.
Maybe. I think he loves the circuit. He says he always has, and he's got a bike this year that he really loves riding and does exactly what he wants.
Here we go then. These are the results after the first race of the weekend. It's a win for Brad Ray here at Cadwell ahead of Rory Skinner and Danny Buchan on the Cinetic BMW, his first podium of the season. Halloran was fourth, and then Bridewell, Hickman, Andy Irwin, Haslam, Glenn Irwin in ninth, Josh Brooks 10th, and then Taz McKenzie and Kyle Ride. Vickers, Tom Neve and Christian Hidden take the final points. And Brad Ray then, who was 24 down going into that race, has cut the gap and, as Witt says, more importantly, has picked up some crucial podium credits as well. Jason O'Halloran will continue to lead in the championship, but after 19 races, it's now down to 12 points overall. The two of them, of course, confirmed. Lee Jackson in third, Rory Skinner fourth, and Glenn Irwin fifth, ahead of Ride Mackenzie Bridle. No change in there, but look at that, 8 points difference in the podium point chart. And further down there, Christian Iden, of course, had a bit of a moment. Andy Owen picked up a few points. He goes on equal points with Tom Sykes in 15th.